But what does firstborn animals gotta do with me though?
That's what I'm saying. What does the first fruit animal sacrifice concern and that whole thing got to do with me?
But I mean, okay, so this is all I'm trying to ask you. Is what does a firstborn animal gotta do with me though?
But what does it got to do with me?
What do it gotta do with me?
What does it got to do with me?
Or what it gotta do with me? What do it gotta do with me?
What does it got to do with me? That shit funny. Shalom. This is the push standard. I'm helping push the standard you did. All right, so at the top of the day, what does first fruit have to do with you? And how is it applicable in our day's time?
Alright, so as y'all know, we have been doing this Deuteronomy
series.
And the topics have been juicy, right?
Yeah. We're 15 part 2, by the way.
What are
Deuteronomy
some
15.
topics we done talked about so far? We done talked about tithe,
we talked about debt
cancellation,
actually like that.
Clean and unclean food.
Yeah, foods, if it's good or not, animal sacrifices, party night, feasting, killing,
some of everything.
Territorial stuff.
Yeah. And if you have not watched, we encourage you to go back and check out the first fruit video we talked about. The title of it was Tithe and Offering, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of that, there were 2 things that we left out of that. So we are going to address those in this particular video really briefly before we go to the next topic of what firstborn animals got to do with me. Okay? So tune in, get you some popcorn or chips, whatever.
Get you some notes.
Definitely take notes. Get
Be
your
not
scriptures. And let's go.
Let's talk about it.
All right.
So when we did the first the Deuteronomy 15, we stopped.
Actually, it was the debt cancellation.
Debt cancellation. So then, the bond servant, that's also considered a debt because we didn't tap into that the last time in debt cancellation. Was the generosity to the poor. So the generosity to the poor, that's also concerning debt. But just check that one out. We're not going to really segue a whole lot into that one. Today we're going to talk about the first fruit law.
Oh, okay. So to pick up on that, because usually we would read it with y'all in this series, but it'll be Deuteronomy chapter 15, verse 7 through 18. Okay? And as we stated, within the 7-year, forgiving people of their debt and the debt release, he also addressed the generosity to the poor and the law concerning bond servants, which are male servants or female servants
That want to
stay with you, or if they want to be released or redeemed in that time of release as well, how you go about doing it.
Right.
So definitely read that in your spare time, y'all, just so you can follow along in the series. Mm-hmm. So now let's get to this question. Everybody want to know. All right.
Are we still supposed to kill animals right now? That's a good question.
All right. So, the law concerning firstborn animals. This starts here in Deuteronomy 15, verse 19.
Let's read it.
And it says, all the firstborn males that come from your herd and your flock, you shall sanctify to Yahuwah your Elohim. You shall do no work with the firstborn of your herd, nor shear the firstborn of your flock. You and your household shall eat it before Yahuwah your Elohim, year by year, in the place
or he tell you
which Yahuwah chooses. He says, but if there is a defect in it, if it is lame or blind or has any serious defect, you shall not sacrifice it to Yahuwah your Elohim.
Right.
You may eat it within your gate. The unclean and the clean person alike may eat it, as if it were a gazelle or a deer, which we know gazelle and deer is clean to eat. Okay. And then he had one precaution. He said, only you shall not eat its blood.
Right.
You shall pour it on the ground like water. Right. Okay, so what is this talking about? So, typically when we hear about the firstborn animal, we think sacrificing.
Right. We think Cain and Abel.
Well, no, Cain and Abel was offered.
Sacrifice. Oh, that's offering.
That was offered. Actually,
never mind.
We're gonna touch that. We're gonna touch it. We think, sacrificial or for sin, right? That's what we think of, at least,
I thought about the feast first
okay.
Feast when I thought about it.
Okay, but this particular law was also part of the first fruit. Okay, so as we know in the video that we did of tithe and offering, it stemmed from the first fruit. Sorry, which are offerings that you give at a particular time of the year
out of your abundance,
out of the abundance of your heart. But Yahuwah commanded them to give the firstborn male of the herd and of their flock. And there's also one concerning the men as well. The firstborn that opens the womb of a woman. As we know, Yahusha was also a firstborn male who opened the womb of his mom, and he was also sanctified before Yahuwah for Yahuwah's pleasure, right? Okay, so let's talk about it. There hasn't been many accounts in scripture where someone tried to buck against this. However, in Malachi, they were rebuked for attempting to do it. So I guess we can read that first, and then we'll go back to the example of Cain and Abel. Okay, so Malachi, the book of Malachi, verse 8, I believe is where it started at.
Chapter 1, verse 8.
You know what? And actually, I'm going to start at verse 6 because I think it's good. Yes, it says it's titled "Polluted Offerings." Okay. Now, I know you're probably enjoying the content, but real quick, this is something you should know. The enemy wants this to stay in your family. Cycles, fear, poverty, lack, struggle, sicknesses, diseases, miscarriages, broken marriages. But it's something that you didn't know. The curse that you probably never could pinpoint is in this book right here. Yahuwah is speaking here. He says, a son honors his father and a servant his master. He says, if then I am the father, where is my honor? He said, and if I am a master, where is my reverence? Says Yahuwah of hosts, to you priests who despise my name. He says, yet you say, in what way have we despised your name? And he go on to tell them. He says, you offer... No. He says, you offer defiled food on my altar.
Like pigs, swine, ducks, stuff like that.
He says,
camels.
But say, in what way have we defiled you? So this the people like, okay, so how we defile your name? He said, you offer defiled food on my altar. Then he's like, they said, in what way have we defiled you though? Like, how are we defiling you? And he says, the table of Yahuwah is contemptible. He says, and when you offer the blind as a sacrifice, is it not evil? Mind you, he already described
the lame, the defected.
How it must be. No blemish, no defect. He already told him, if it has a defect,
just go cut it up and
he just said, go, don't offer it to me. You cut it up and eat it with your family. Right? So, they were still apparently trying to get away with offering lame, blind animals, right? He said, is it not evil? He says, and when you offer the lame and sick, is it not evil?
Is it not evil?
And then check out what Yahuwah said. He says, offer it to your governor. He says, will he be pleased with you? Will he accept you favorably, says Yahuwah of hosts. He says, but now entreat Yahuwah's favor, that he may be gracious to us, while this is being done by your hand. Will he accept you favorably, says Yahuwah of hosts. He says, who is there even among you who would shut the doors? He like, is this anybody that can just shut the door so y'all don't come in here offering vain offerings in my temple? Like, can y'all please? Okay. He said, so that you will not kindle fire on my altar in vain. He said, I have no pleasure in you. He says, nor will I accept an offering from your hand. For from the rising of the sun, even to its going down, my name shall be great among the Gentiles. In every place, incense shall be offered to my name.
You read more than
It's okay. It's supposed to be to 13, actually.
okay.
In a pure offering. He said, my name shall be great among the nations, says Yahuwah of hosts. He says, but you profane it in that you say, the table of Yahuwah is defiled, and its fruit, its food is contemptible. And then he said, you also say, oh, what a weariness. And you sneer at it. Basically, like, oh, I'm tired of this. And, I'm like, so what? Like, there's no heart in it, basically, in their offerings anymore, okay? He says Yahuwah of hosts. He says, and not only that, he says, you bring the stolen, the lame and the sick. So they bring in stolen animals to offer before Yahuwah, right? He says, should I accept this from your hand? Says Yahuwah. He says, but cursed be the deceiver who has in his flock a male and take a vow, but sacrifices to Yahuwah what is blemished. He says, for I am a great king, says Yahuwah of hosts, and my name is to be feared among the nations. So, don't be out there stealing for animals and stuff. Y'all crazy. Stop. Okay, so that's an example of where, or at least a place that I found where they were actually rebuked for attempting to offer blind, stolen, lame animals as firstborn animals. Now, one that you brought to my attention was Cain and Abel. All right, because a lot of people apparently, in the modern day, we have not been taught the Torah for real.
Right.
Like we read these things, but we never really had understanding. So now with Cain and Abel. All right, so as I was saying, many of us did not know that the offering that Cain and Abel brought before Yahuwah was a first fruit. Okay, so it stated that Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. Now, if you keep in mind the first fruit, if you offer what you have of what you harvested from your ground, whether it was fruit, veggies,
animals,
seasonings, yes,
oil,
and it was an offering,
flour,
of whatever they set their heart on to give to Yahuwah, right? Okay, so it says, and in the process of time, it came to pass that Cain brought an offering of the fruit of the ground to Yahuwah. Abel also brought of the firstborn of his flock and of their fat. It says, and Yahuwah respected Abel and his offering, but he did not respect Cain and his offering. And Cain was very angry and his countenance fell, right? So I'm not going to read the whole story of Cain and Abel, but we see that they too, it was a time of the first fruit, and they gave of the offering that they were willing and what was in their heart to give. Now, there is more context that is missing out of this scriptures, but if you have read the...
Jasher.
Is it Jasher? Okay, Jasher, I know, spoke of more details. And in everything that we read and study of scripture, Yahuwah always is addressing the heart. He's always addressing the heart first. So it showed that Cain's heart was not even in the offering he gave.
That's why it was the type of offering he gave.
Okay, so it had nothing to do with it. Oh, because it was fruit and it wasn't an animal. It had nothing to do with that. It was because, remember, if you watched the video, I talked about Yahuwah has always requested us to give out of the abundance of our heart what we purpose in our heart to give. Not grudgingly or of necessity.
Right.
So if we keep that in mind, we know why Yahuwah respected Abel's gift versus Cain. Okay. It was a time of first fruit. That was what the part of. So they do this every year.
And 3 years.
And every third year. Of whatever they have harvested, the increase that they have received from Yahuwah's blessing. Okay, and again, it was not a demand as far as the offerings, but of what they have purpose in their heart. Now, the firstborn, he did say, "Give me that."
Yeah.
Of the
He
male.
said, don't even cut it. Don't cut it. Just send it over.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So the question was, how does it apply to us today? I have my opinions on how it will apply, but safely, it's an area that is still brand new. It's still brand new to us. I could just tell you what he had us do last year. But let's start with my son first. So with my son, I dedicated him. That's according to the scripture. He said, "Dedicate your firstborn males." So I did, and I prayed. I anointed him, and I was playing with the Ruach Hakodesh, and then I asked Yahuwah's words to speak over him, and then at the end of it, I said, "I dedicate my firstborn to you." At the end of it. Now, as far as animals stuff, I don't have animals. But it would probably be how he done. I know this is what he did for us. He told us to go by the regimen of the first fruit in Leviticus, and then he said, "As you give it unto the poor, you give unto me." And I said, "Okay." So it was whoever he picked, and I gave it to him. I gave him the lamb, the rice, the grain, and some yarn, and I gave it to the poor. And Yahuwah received it as unto him in that particular moment, because there's, like, you gotta remember, we don't have known Levites right now that's moving around. So that's what he had. That's what he had us do at that particular moment. I don't know what he's gonna have us do next year. It may be the same, may not. But that's what I did, because I told him I want to keep all his feasts and do that particular thing. So that's how it will be applicable.
Real quick, we got something for you.
You found it very valuable, didn't it? I did too. But check it out. There's a free PDF in the description box below of our mini chapter of our book, Faith and Hardship. Check it out for your marriage, so your marriage can thrive, and so you can continue to beat divorce and separation.
All right, back to the video.
Back to the video. And in my understanding.
Yeah. So I would just encourage, if anybody's listening and you too want to follow, or you are following, it's always the best to go to Yahuwah and say, okay, how do you want me to keep this part? You know, what does this look like for me and my family? Okay. And that's really it on the firstborn animals and males for today. So our next topic will be getting into the feast, I believe.
Deuteronomy 16.
Deuteronomy 16.
Yeah.
Yes, which is the Passover review, which we've done a video if you want to after reading, because you remember you got to pick up Deuteronomy 15 verse 7 through 18. And then Passover, we have a video. The title of it has something about Easter.
Versus Passover? Something like that?
Yeah, and we was explaining.
I'll put it in the card up there.
That, yes. Thank you. Yeah, so we'll probably link that and also put it in the description box or comment somewhere. So you can watch that video too, to kind of get a heads up on the Passover. Okay? And yeah, until...
All right, closing remarks. Keep his commands. Believe on Yahushua first, that he's the son of living Elohim, right? But then you also have to keep all his commands. You have to keep the ones that's applicable for you as a man or woman, and through profession, right? And if you do them and you do them rightly, you'll be high in the kingdom. If you do some of them and you teach some people to do some of them, then you're gonna be low in the kingdom. If you just believe on Yahushua alone, without any word, with faith, you won't inherit the kingdom. So shalom, shalom. Be blessed out in these streets.
All right.